Hello, so we've got Amanuel's very final call. Matt has banned him, and I just thought I would look at this call, or at least the last 5 or 6 minutes of it, to find out what got him banned exactly. Went out on the 28th of May, 2023, this episode. So Emmanuel is calling in to argue that lust is a sin. So let's take it from there and see where it goes.
How are they being harmed? If I'm looking at a young woman and lusting, how am I being harmed?
Because after that, you'll feel guilt because you.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't feel guilt. I do not feel guilt because I haven't bought into the bullshit notion of sin.
Yeah, man, you're actually presenting an argument about how the New Testament is great at creating depression. You're saying that sinning creates guilt and anxiety. Well, it doesn't for Matt. It doesn't for me because we don't believe in sin. So it seems to me that believing in sin is terrible for your mental health.
Yeah, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who may know the Bible better than me, or Christian theology, but lust per se in the Bible is not forbidden. It's not a sin as such. I believe that looking at your neighbor's wife, or shall we say a woman who's married, looking at her with lust is considered to be a sin. So lust as such, I don't believe is actually a sin. I think he's wrong about that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there's a solution to it because I think Christ's sacrifice is like good to our, because I stopped feeling guilt after I understand what has been paid.
Okay, now listen carefully. He said there that he stopped feeling guilt, I assume, for lusting after women, after he realized the sacrifice, the price that Christ paid to wipe clean his sins. So just remember that.
Muting you again, Emmanuel. Listen very carefully. Every time we start to talk about something, we tell you what we think, and you try to tie it back and ignore it. So now we said, why is it immoral to look at someone with lust? And your answer was, because then you'll feel guilt. Well, first of all, if you've done something wrong, you should feel guilty. But your assertion that someone would feel guilty is rejected. I won't feel guilty because I am not convinced that I've done anything wrong. You still need to stay on this point here of saying, how do you show that I've done something wrong? Don't go to, I think you can fix it because Jesus took my guilt away. I don't care if believing in the tooth fairy takes your guilt away. I care why your guilt is there in the first place. And if you haven't done anything wrong and you feel guilty, then it's you that's broken in feeling guilty. It is the guilt that is the problem, not what you've done. So I'd like you to explain how it is immoral for one person to look at another one with sexual desire.
The emotional damage that happens to me, like I feel,
Now, did you hear that? He just said the emotional damage that happens to me. I thought he was saying that Jesus' sacrifice keeps his soul pure. Jesus paid the price, right? He said that. And now he's saying that he feels emotional damage. So he seems to be contradicting himself. Christianity doesn't work after all.
Kind of like, what is wrong with me, right? Why am I?
Emmanuel, stop. Listen.
Okay.
The fact that you feel emotional damage, really sorry, but you are not the world. And if you felt emotionally difficult about eating peanut butter, that wouldn't mean that eating peanut butter is immoral. So don't tell me why you are bothered by lust. Tell me why lust is a sin for anyone.
Okay, so the byproduct of, I think, committing lust is like people steal, people, they force other people to have relation with them because of that lust.
They don't.
Committed a lot of
no, like, Emmanuel. Okay, how? No, Emmanuel. No, we're talking about lust. You don't get to say, oh, they force people to have relations with them. No, that's rape. And it is immoral because the person being harmed is the person who's being raped. It violates individual autonomy and consent. Do you think is it possible to look at someone with sexual desire and not physically assault them? Is that possible?
It is possible, but people
Cool.
make
Then you don't get to bring up.
then you don't get
to bring up the physical assault as a reason why the lust is wrong. I'm going to give you another chance to explain why it's immoral to look at someone with lust. And if you don't do better, I'm going to move on to another caller.
I mean, that's all that I have, Matt. It separates us from God.
I would love to be separated from God. I don't believe there is a God. You keep calling in because you have a belief, and this belief has poisoned your mind and turned you into a blubbering buffoon because you are feeling guilty about things that are perfectly normal, because you followed a slippery slope argument about how lust leads to rape or lust leads to guilt. It's not lust that caused the guilt. It is the bullshit religious virus that infected your mind that convinced you that you've done something wrong by existing and engaging in perfectly normal human behavior. If there was no lust, there would not be a species. It's lust that drives us. It's not the soul thing that drives relationships, but lust is there to drive us to propagate. It is an absolutely normal thing. It's not lust that is the problem. It is sexual assault that is the problem. It is the way religions get into someone's mind and convince them that they are broken and immoral and need to kowtow and donate part of their income and go out and tell other people how they are broken and kowtow and need to give part of their income. It is a mind virus that has polluted the world, and you are infected.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello, Matt. One time, I was like teaching this guy, and he told me that he couldn't be a Christian because he had a same-sex attraction. So what I'm telling you is people are giving an excuse not to come to the truth and the light.
Goodbye. Don't ever call my shows again. I'm done with you, Amanuel. I have played this game with you. I just gave a dissertation on what's absolutely wrong, and you disregarded all of it to say that somebody said they couldn't be a Christian because they had same-sex attraction. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't think that you're actually teaching anybody anything, and I don't think you're teachable. Go find somebody else to correct your confusion. I'm done with it.
Okay, so there we are. Amanuel, definitively banned. I wonder whether he really will. I know that at the end of the show he tried to come back and apologize, and he was once again shut out and excluded. Now, I appreciate what Matt is saying, that he's had many of these conversations with Amanuel, and he now considers that it's all been fruitless, that Amanuel is unteachable. Personally, I would never want to exclude a theist, particularly a disturbed young man like Amanuel, from calling and engaging with him, no matter how many times he apparently demonstrated that he had not got the point. I would want to have another go, and I would want to have another go at explaining, and I would think that maybe I should try and explain it a different way. Maybe I should persevere with this person. Rather than exclude him, I would probably want to include him, particularly as he's a theist. And we listen to so many boring atheist calls, people patting each other on the back saying, oh, aren't we clever? You know, we're atheists. And Amanuel is exactly the kind of person that needs to be allowed to call in so that he can be persuaded. And I don't agree that anybody is essentially unteachable. I do believe that you can get through to people. And by closing him off like this and alienating him, it's almost like sealing his fate. He's obviously stuck in this religion. He sounds to me very confused. He doesn't really even understand his own theology. He's sort of taking it to extremes. And I think that it's more important to engage with him and hopefully, sooner or later, he may well come around. It may well be that had Matt not banned him, maybe in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we might see Amanuel coming back and saying, you know, Matt, I was a complete idiot. I wasn't listening to you. I was going through stuff in my life. I was clinging onto my beliefs, etc., etc. I had traumatic experiences. There was a reason why I was stuck in the religion. But thanks to you, you persevered with me when others wouldn't have done. And now I'm an atheist. Well, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It's not my show. I wouldn't have banned him, but, you know, that's not my decision. Well, I'm probably going to do a poll on this just to find out how many of you agree, but otherwise you can comment below. I'd be interested in your opinion. Anyway, bye for now. I'll be back again with another video soon.